headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
I do want to touch briefly, if I may, on something that's been very much on Talk Radio throughout the day today. And that is, of course, I had a journey to work yesterday, coming in to do my 8 o'clock regular show on Sunday, when, as I suspect many of you know, really through no obvious provocation that I could find in a virtually empty carriage, a thug decided that he should actually assault me, and that he should seek to assault me, rather, and in doing so say, "I am going to stab you unless you move along." Not once, but he did it twice, repeatedly. He also then bizarrely took it upon himself to talk to someone on the phone as he was making these threats, and continued a conversation where he repeatedly said, "He's still here, I can see him, I'm going to stab him." Now, I've got to tell you, it was at the time extraordinary. I really cannot anticipate or explain to you how difficult it is to react to something like that. But all my instincts were screaming, calm the situation, keep this situation calm. When he reached into his pocket, as he said, "I'm going to stab you," that is a moment I don't think I'll ever forget. Now, I don't know, and I've been perfectly clear about this, whether he had a knife or not. The chances are he did not. But you don't rationalise like that at that time. And contrary to the advice I was given by many, just to punch the guy, etc., that's not really necessarily the most obvious solution at the time. You want to calm things, you want to actually be able to de-escalate, and you want to be able to get out of there as quickly as possible, which when he's blocking the exit and you'd have to turn round and put your back to someone to get out, in other words, follow his instruction, if you like, to move on, this guy could just stab you in the back quite willfully. It was an extraordinary experience, one that I never want to repeat again, but I have since learnt through many of you who've been tweeting, who've been sharing the experience, that this is all too sadly common, goes way beyond the 40,000 annual knife crime incidents that are reported to the police. And I'd like to explain to you why I'd like to hear from you this evening, your story, your experience, what's happened to you. Many of you have been sharing them with me on Twitter. I hope you'll join me tonight to share your experiences and your thoughts on these incidents, which many of you have been very kind about, very generous in your support on Twitter. Not everyone, I hasten to add. You can join me on that conversation on 0344 499 1000 or tweet me at Nick Dubois or at Talk Radio. But let me tell you something else, if I may. After just over 24 hours since this incident happened, if you like, the shock of the incident and the shock of the threats to stab you have gone. But now it's been replaced by anger. And you may actually recognise that feeling of anger if you've been in a similar situation. But my anger is not just directed at the offender, but my anger is because of the lack of political will to take on the thugs, take on the gangs, take on the culture of violence. And so we have yet another wasted generation. And this has been a political lack of will that extends over 2 decades. We can be so much better than this. We can do so much better than this. These kids, whatever you may think of these thugs, and this guy was probably about 16, I don't know. They're not born feral, which is a term that's brandished so regularly. They're not born evil or violent. And whatever you think of them now, and I don't think kindly of them, we should all feel a lot worse if we do nothing to stem this tide of violence. But without that political will at the very highest level in Westminster, right down to the local councils where we all live, we will never, ever stop this war on our streets. I am frankly sick of task forces. I am sick of warm words. I'm sick of programs and promises. Too many lives are being ruined. Too many lives, frankly, are being lost. Which is why we must wait. We have to do more. We have to make the voices of those who see, who witness, who experience crime, particularly violent crime, we have to have them heard. That is how we drive change. Someone said to me today, would you want to go back into Parliament to continue the work that you were trying to do on knife crime then? And my answer is no. I think we as broadcasters are in a privileged position where we can give voice to those who are living through the reality of what crime and violent crime means. It is a voice that is not heard. And it is not being heard in Westminster. It's not even being heard in councils up and down the country. And because it does not touch the lives of every one of us, it is therefore not on the radar of those who are making the decisions that affect our lives, which is why there is a lack of political will to deal with what is a wasted generation, a generation that is being led down the path of violence as the first answer to every problem. And that is not an acceptable way forward. That is why I will always give voice to those who want to share their views, who want to share their experiences. Many of you may not have even reported what happened to you. I did. And what happened to me pales into comparison with so many other stories that I've heard. And I've heard many, and I will read them out during the show. And some of them have come in. People telling me, this one, for example, a young man grabbed me by the throat, pinned me against the wall, raised his fist and threatened to punch me in a tube station. The train was held till the police arrived. He pleaded guilty at court. It really knocks your self-confidence. I was nervous travelling for a month. There is more and more of this that needs to be heard, and we will make the policy makers, the politicians, listen. That has to be our mission, not because of what happened to me, not even because of what happened to you, but because we are wasting a generation, condemning them to gang violence, to threats, intimidation that are spilling over way beyond the cities where most people think this is an exclusive habitat. It is not. Mine was in leafy Hertfordshire. Join me, join the conversation, 0344 499 1000. Tweet me at Nick Dubois or at Talk Radio.
Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk Radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.